do this every Wednesday, the open mic night. Thursday through Saturdays when we have headliners come to town. You guys having fun? All right. Woo! Earlier you said probably, and now you're saying yes, definitely. Okay, great. All right. Your next comic coming to the stage. I'm very excited to see him up here. I met him tonight. Wonderful man, been so nicer to me than all my friends that you've seen tonight. Please give a big, warm round of applause to Flip Cummings.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate that, everybody. Right as I was coming out, Mo reminded me, he said, you got a tight 5. He said, you know what that is? I said, yeah, I can do 5 minutes. He said, how long is 5 minutes? I said, well, it's how long it takes me to make love. Twice. On a good night. I tried to get cleaned up for everybody tonight. How do I look? Dressed to impress. I've got to be in front of a judge first thing in the morning. Yeah, and it's got to go better than it did the first time. You do not want to be referred as defendant when you walk into the courtroom. No, this time I'm going to be the lawyer, and I'll tell you what, the law is a lot of fun. I remember one of the first women that I represented in court. We were going in front of the judge to plead. She committed some minor offense, but we spend a lot of time working with these clients and getting them ready to go into court, because a lot of them have never been there before. And so you want them ready, you want to let them know what to expect, and the court expects some things from them as well. And so they asked them a lot of questions. You try to prepare them for that. And we got in front of the judge, and the judge looked at my client. He said, good morning, ma'am. She said, good morning, Your Honor. He said, could you tell me how far you went to school? And she looked at me and said, do I have to answer this? And I said, well, you're just sworn in. Of course, you got to answer truthfully to everything. And she asked the judge again, could you repeat that question? And he said, well, how far did you go in school? And she looked at him and said, all the way. This morning wasn't much better. I was in front of the judge with a young man who had been picked up for public drunk. And so we got him in front of the judge, and the judge said, you've been brought in front of me this morning for drinking, haven't you? He said, yes. Are you buying the first round? But you know, somebody asked me the other day, you're pretty good in front of judges and juries and whatnot. How did you get started? And I said, well, back when I was in law school, I worked in the criminal justice system here in Georgia. I was a prison guard and counselor. I said, as a matter of fact, my first job, I was a morale officer on death row. I said, that's a tough crowd. I mean, what are you going to say? See you next week? I mean, really? I was so good, though, at that they sent me to a women's prison where I worked as a counselor, and there was a wide awakening moment for me. I'd never worked in quite a situation like that, but I did learn a couple of things about women. I learned that there's 2 theories to arguing with a woman, and neither one of them work. But one of the other things I learned is that women love a man that can make them laugh. Is that right? You like to laugh, I can tell. And you're already laughing. And you can do that. And I've made my share of women laugh. You can ask any of my slept with. You're all here tonight?
Yeah.
But you know, and that's what I liked about dating. I thought, you know, it's going to expose me to a lot of women. I like that. But dating hasn't been as good as I thought it was going to be. In fact, last week I found out my blow-up doll is a lesbian. But I did go out with a girl a few weeks ago. It was a younger girl, and I thought, you know, younger women, that's maybe the way to go. And so we were out. We were having a pretty good time, and we got back to her place and we're talking, and we get to exchanging a lot of personal information. And so finally she asked me, she said, do you wear boxers or briefs? And I was completely baffled. Then I did feel old because I looked at her and I said, it depends. But what I really like about practicing law is there's just so many strange laws out there. In Juneau, Alaska, it's illegal for moose to mate on the street. And this is the law in the books, but I thought, God, isn't that what the Moose Lodge is for? I mean, really? And who's going to tell the moose? You know, get a room. In Wyoming, it's against the law for pharmacists to give gunpowder to cure headaches. I thought, well, geez Louise. I said, well, if gunpowder won't cure a headache, what will? But I guess I would amend that law to say that, you know, gun dealers can't give Band-Aids out to hunt bear either. In Alabama, is anybody here from Alabama? In Alabama, women are allowed to keep all the property they had before marriage at the time of divorce. That's not true for the men. So when you buy that double wide, think about it. Think about it. And in Georgia, it's strange here too, because in Georgia, you can't use foul language in front of a corpse that's in the funeral home or at the coroner's office. Now, if they're laying around anywhere else, you can pretty much say what you want. They're pretty sensitive. But in a home, no, just don't. And there was a gentleman I met at a seminar when I was here in Atlanta just a few weeks ago. He was from Sweden. He was a lawyer there, and he was telling me that in Sweden, he said that prostitution is legal as long as it doesn't bring any pleasure to the customer. Oh my gosh, I said, that sounds like my first marriage. I'm Flip Cummings. Thank you. I'll see you in court.
One more time for Flip Cummings, everybody.